there was a farmer now who lived in a small farming community somewhere in Southern America. His farm, however, was the best farm that anyone had ever seen. All of his crops grew beautiful, tall, lush, and tasty. And his crops, despite how little sense it seemed to make, would grow almost year-round. Many marveled at this man's farm, and every time someone would ask him how his crops did so well, he would simply say, "It's because of my scarecrow. The one thing you need to have a decent farm is a real good scarecrow. I'd go as far to say as that crow might be one of my best friends in the whole world." Now, the farmer's scarecrow was something to marvel at. You see, because it wasn't like a normal scarecrow. It was near 10 feet tall. Its arms were long and touched the ground with... Its arms seemed to be made of trees, and the roots making a bunch of twisted, horrifying claws. It stood tall on its post, with long, bent legs. It wore average scarecrow attire, but the one thing that really set it apart from everything else was its head. You see, this scarecrow's head was carved by the farmer himself. He spent months perfecting his design, hand-carving it from a log. The scarecrow's face was the most terrifying thing anyone could ever imagine. So terrifying, I cannot find the words to describe it. Now, there were two brothers who owned a rival farm, but due to their laziness, their farm didn't do well at all. They were so jealous of the old man. These brothers were Mitchell and Harold. Now, they decided to get the old man back, they'd steal his scarecrow. So one night, they went to his house with a hacksaw. They cut down the scarecrow, and they took it and they hauled it back to their house. The next day, they sat outside, waiting for the old man. They saw the old man come outside of his house, and once he noticed his scarecrow was gone, they laughed as they watched him break down and start crying. They started to laugh even more so as the old man started to walk down their driveway. "What do you need, stranger?" "Guys, have either of you seen my scarecrow? I don't know. I don't know where it could have gone. I need that scarecrow. It keeps all the pests and all the animals away from my crops." "Sorry, old man, we don't know where your scarecrow is." "Boys, please. Without that scarecrow, my farm will suffer. That's my livelihood." "Old man, we told you we have no idea where your damn scarecrow is. Now get lost before we call the police." Defeated, the old farmer walked back to his house, head in his hands, mourning over the loss of his friend. As he walked away, the two brothers laughed even more. That night, as the brothers tried to sleep, they did sleep happily, but they kept waking up by the thought of that scarecrow's twisted and mangled face being inside of their house. They couldn't take it, so they both went downstairs. Harold, picking up a hacksaw, cut off the scarecrow's head, and they threw it outside. Then they went and slept. Then they woke up in the middle of the night to hear scratching on the wall. "Did you forget to put the dog out?" Mitchell said. Harold, terrified, said, We don't have a dog." Both of them just stared at their bedroom door until eventually it came crashing down, and there they saw the headless scarecrow, dragging itself along by its huge tree-like arms. Headless, it moved in. "Holy shit!" Mitchell yelled, before jumping and running out the door. His brother tried to follow him, but Mitchell tripped him and continued to run. He ran out the door, and he ran down the road, towards the other old farmer's house. "Help! Help! There's a psycho in our house!" The farmer looked at Mitchell and smiled a sadistic grin, knowing that his retribution was about to come. Mitchell yelled, "Oh, hell with it!" and he turned around to see what was behind him. And there, he saw the scarecrow right at his back, standing tall, but with a new face, a new head that terrified him to his very core. As he stared at the head, it looked like Harold, his brother. But then the head twisted and distorted itself back into the scarecrow's usual head. And that was the last thing Mitchell ever saw, was Harold the Scarecrow.